Hey folks, Zito here, hope you're well. This week I decided to make this. It's my pal Jordan Blackburn's take on an axe. It's actually his piece that's called Flaccid Axe. It's a whimsical play on kind of, the masculinity side of, being in the outdoors and stuff like that and not taking it too seriously effectively. When I saw it and whenever I see his work, I just kind of love it. And when I saw this particular piece, I thought, damn, I should probably make this thing. So without further ado, this is kind of my take on it essentially, and a little bit of pine steam bending. So hope you enjoy. So this particular build starts off with a $3 piece of 2x4 from Home Depot. Since it wasn't going to actually be used, I reckon some cheap pine for lamination steam bending would work. Normally for an axe, I would definitely recommend a solid piece of hardwood. So the vision for this particular piece was to have a bent handle. Having built my canoe, I figured steam bending the wood would be fun and is also a great way to practice steam bending. It's been a minute since I've done it and everything like that. The curvature was approximately the same as that of the curvature of the bow and the stern on my boat, so I actually ended up using the same mold for my canoe for that. Measuring out the approximate sizes of the laminations required for the mold, I then went to the chop saw and cut the length of the pine for steam bending. From there, I passed the pine through the joiner and then cut the 2x4 into 1/4-inch slices on the table saw. Then it was literally time to get bent. For this, I actually just boil a huge ass pot of water. It's not quite actually steam bending, it's really just throwing the pine or whatever wood into a hot bath for essentially an hour there. So I throw the boiled water into a sealed tube, and then I throw the pine in and keep it in there for about an hour, stuff it with a t-shirt and everything on top. After that said hour, I take the pine out and bend it to the mold with clamps. Had we not steam bent this wood, it would have totally snapped with very little pressure, so it's actually a pretty cool process. We go clamp by clamp and slowly pin the thing down and have it to the curvature essentially. After about 24 hours, I find the wood's actually fairly bent and it's pretty much in the shape that we want it to be in. To make one solid piece, what I then use is some West System epoxy, and then I use that to glue the laminations together to make that one solid piece. And throw that right back onto the mold. After about another 24 hours, I take the now glued up pine blob off the mold and I make a super odd trace essentially with my Grand Fours small forest axe. Once it's kind of on the bent lamination, from there I cut off the ends on the bandsaw. And then because it's pine, I pretty much just shape it all on the sander because it's kind of awkward otherwise on the bandsaw. And since it was pine, it actually took shape really quickly on the belt sander, literally within minutes. Kind of had the shape that I was going for. After I had a pretty solid shape with the particular piece of pine, I then took it off and drilled out a hole that went to the axe knob. And then I continued to refine the shape and texture with a random orbital sander. After having that solid shape, it came time to fitting the axe head. The spoke shave is the tool I use for this. After a repetitive process of shaving, then fitting, then shaving, and then fitting again, I finally reached a point where I found that the head fit on relatively well. And from there, I cut a notch out of the top of the handle. And of course, it wouldn't be one of my projects without skateboards. So I decided to use a wedge made of skateboards. After adding a little bit of type on to that particular wedge, I slammed the thing in there with mallet, and with a little more sanding, we essentially had a finished axe. From there, I finished it with a little bit of Danish oil, and voila, pretty much had myself that little whimsical axe that I had in my head and also admired from Jordan's work there. Anyhow, not everything needs to be serious, and it's fun to make things for the sake of making things, and just to practice the steam bending was awesome for this particular project. So I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoy Jordan's work and stuff like that, so it's always awesome to see, and yeah, I'm glad I got a chance to, we got a chance to build this together and stuff like that. More building of random things coming up soon. Baseball bat season is upon us, so hopefully I have something that turns out there. And a little more work at the cabin, some interesting developments actually. So yeah, more to come. Peace. Take it easy.